the top questions of Chapter 9. Let's start off with number 1. The graph below indicates equilibrium at E for a closed economy without government spending. If the addition of government spending results in equilibrium F, find the value of government spending and the multiplier. So let's look at the graph. The point at E is the equilibrium without government spending. However, the point of F is with government spending. So that means I can get government spending very easily. How can I get government spending? I must do aggregate expenditure of F minus aggregate expenditure of E. Let's look back at the graph. What's the aggregate expenditure of F? It's 300. What is the aggregate expenditure of F? It's 300. If we want to make sure, we can trace along this line and we'll see the point is at F. The aggregate expenditure of E is 200. Let's trace above that line and we find that it's E. It's the point at E. So just simply we do 300 minus 200, which is 100, and we get our answer. Now, the other value they need is the multiplier. There are two ways to find the multiplier, either 1 over MPS or 1 over 1 minus MPC. Now, which one is easier to find in this question? Spending or consumption? Of course, spending, because we already found government spending. So, how can we find MPS? MPS is the change in spending over the change in disposable income. Let's go back to the graph and find each one. The change in spending is what we already got in the first part of the question, which is government spending. So it's 100. 300 minus 200. And what is Y or YD? In this case, it's gross domestic product. So we do 1,500 minus 1,000. Let's go back to my answer sheet. We should do 300 minus 200, which is change in spending, over 1,500 minus 1,000, which is the government domestic product. And we get 1 over 5. This is our MPC. 1 over 5 is also equal to 0.2. Now, we need to find the multiplier. Since I already got MPS, we need to find the equation that only contains MPS, so we can find it easily and very fast. So it's 1 over MPS. That's very easy. I'll put 1 over 1 divided by 5, or 1 over 0.2. And my final answer would be 5. So in this case, I got government spending and I got the multiplier. Now let's move on to number 2. Suppose taxes increased by 600 billion with MPC of 1 over 3. Calculate the change in income. Keep in mind, this is taxes, not spending, not consumption, taxes. So there's an equation I want you guys to memorize. The change in Y is equal to negative change in taxes times the multiplier of taxes, or MPC over 1 minus MPC. We have the change in taxes and we have MPC. So it's just a matter of substitution and getting the right answer in the end. That is all for number 2. Now let's move on to number 3. Current equilibrium output equals 2,500,000. Potential output equals 2,700,000. And the MPC equals 0.75. Under these conditions, what would a Keynesian economist recommend? I have two methods that will help me reach my potential output. Let's look at method number 1. They're very easy, very straightforward. Once you get the hang of the first one, you will easily get the hang of the second one. Now let's try method 1. What is my multiplier? That's the first thing you need to find. My multiplier, my normal multiplier, not the tax multiplier. Because we're trying two methods. The first method is the spending method, is the government spending method. The second method is the taxes method. So let's try the first method, the spending method. So we're going to use the normal multiplier. They gave me the MPC so I can easily find the multiplier. I found the multiplier to be 4. What can I do with this number? What can I do with the number 4? I can find how much the government needs to spend in order to reach its potential output. So I got the multiplier. I got the multiplier and I put it into this equation. This equation consists of subtracting the potential output minus my current output divided by the multiplier, so I can get the number that the government should increase its spending by. So I do 2,700,000 minus 2,500,000 over 4, which is my multiplier, my spending multiplier, and I get 50,000. That's the number the government spending should increase by. So my conclusion would be, this would increase GDP by 200,000 until potential output is reached without any pressure on the price. Now you may ask me, how did you get this number? How did you get 200,000? Easy. 2,700,000 minus 2,500,000 is equal to 200,000. That's how much I need to increase my GDP by. Now let's go to method 2. Method 2 is the tax multiplier. So first of all, I get my tax multiplier and I get it to be 3. Okay, what do I do after that? Exactly the same thing as government spending. So how much do I need to decrease my taxes so I can reach my potential output? So I do 2,700,000 minus 2,500,000 over my tax multiplier, and I get 66,666. So this would increase my GDP by $200,000 so I can be able to reach my potential output without any pressure on price, without any change in price. Price is still the same. I'm just changing either my government spending or my taxes. Now let's move on to number 4. Suppose that an economy is in a recession and the government increases its spending and taxes by equal amounts, which is also known as a balanced budget. Can aggregate demand increase? Explain your answer. Keep in mind, these questions might come written, so you need to know how to explain your answers in broader words. So, what is my answer? Aggregate demand can increase since government multiplier is greater than tax multiplier. So, as government expenditure increases by the equal amount of taxes, so basically, so this means that if an equal amount of government expenditure and equal amount of increase in taxes would result in an increase in real GDP by the initial amount of government spending. This might sound a bit hard, but once I give you this example, it will all make sense. So, the increase in government spending and taxes was $400. My MPC was 0.2. So, from this explanation that I just gave, this would result in me knowing that the national income, also known as real GDP, would increase by the same amount government spending increased. So, national income would increase by $400. Easy, not very hard. Just keep this example in mind, so if this question comes written, you can put this example into words, and you can also put it as an example so you can show that you understand the question very well. Now, number 5 is very easy, it doesn't need any explanation, and I hope everyone gets it. Let's move on to a harder question. Let's move on to number 6. Number 6 might look scary at first, but trust me, it is so easy and it's so easy to grasp upon. Now let's do number 6A. The graph above shows the aggregate supply and aggregate demand for an economy. Calculate the expenditure multiplier if AD1 shifts to AD2 as a result of an increase in government spending of $100. Oh, that's very easy, very simple. I can get this question easily. So, I do change in RGDP over the change in G. They already gave us G, which is the change in G, which is 100. And with the graph, I can find the change in RGDP, which is 1,500 minus 1,000. I put it in this equation, I put 500 over 100, and I get 5. That's my multiplier. Now let's move on to B. Will a decrease in income taxes have to be larger, smaller, or equal to 100 in order to shift the AD by the same amount as $100 increase in government spending? Explain your answer. This question sounds very familiar to number 4, So let's see. Let's see what the answer is. So the answer is a larger decrease in income taxes will be needed. Why? Because tax multiplier is less than spending multiplier. So that means for it to be the same amount, I need to have a larger decrease in income tax. Because taxes affect people less than the spending multiplier. The tax multiplier is weaker than the spending multiplier. I hope that makes sense. Let's do C. If the margin of propensity to save decreases, will the spending multiplier increase, decrease, or remain the same? Let's see the equation. The equation of the multiplier is 1 over MPS. So if they told me that MPS decreased, that means the denominator increased. That means the multiplier increases, because the less the denominator is, the higher the number I get. Now let's move on to D. Assume instead of AS curve, now let's move on to D. Assume instead of that AS curve is upward sloping. Would the change in RGDP result from $100 increase in government spending be greater than, less than, or equal to the changes shown in the graph above? Logically, if it was a straight line and it became sloping upwards, would this change decrease, be the same, or increase? Logically, it would be smaller, because you can see on the graph. I can't really draw on this one, but if you take out your paper and you draw some lines, you can find with your eyes that it's going to be smaller. The change would be smaller. Now let's move on to E. Assume the wages and prices are perfectly flexible. Oh, so they can change very easily. That's what perfectly flexible means. Means I can change them very easily, no hassle at all. As a result of a $100 increase in government spending, will RGDP increase, decrease, or remain the same? If it's very flexible, that means I can change the prices without needing to change RGDP. That means I can remain unchanged. Oh, okay. Why? Because prices will easily adjust to the long run equilibrium without me needing to change my RGDP. I hope I made sense, and I hope everyone understood. Best of luck in your finals, and see you next video. Bye-bye.